It's like watching somebody grow up in front of your eyes. And now you're this man. You know, when I booked the movie, I went back and revisited the series in the beginning. And last night we were talking on the phone. It was like I was watching you, just being. I remember the episode when you locked the fucking window and she couldn't get back in. That's like episode maybe 3 or something.
I don't even remember.
And Edie took out the machine gun and you locked the fucking laundry room so she couldn't back in.
That might be the pilot.
That could be the pilot.
That might be the pilot.
You were just a little young kid.
I was 12 years old.
How long were you acting before that?
So I was 6 years old, walking down the street with my dad, and some guy came up to my dad and said, "Hey, your son should do auditions," or they didn't know I was gonna be fucking short and look the way I do, but they were like, he should be a little model or do whatever. So my dad and my mom, my mom mainly, started taking me on auditions for commercials and shit like that, and I booked like Pizza Hut, AT&T. Like a whole IBM, like I booked all these commercials, and then my grandmother passed away. I broke my arm. All this weird stuff kind of happened in my life. And my mom, she decided, I guess, for me to stop for a few years. And my manager, who's still my manager today, which is almost 30 years later, this guy Jeff Mitchell, he's fucking amazing. He would call every couple weeks, couple months, or whatever, and say, "Hey, he should get back in. He should get back in." And, we'd be like, no. And then finally when we said yes, I went audition and got Sopranos.
When you got the call, it was like 5 out of 10 people who have, become regulars and went on to go on the show. The first time you got the call, I was in New York, and I got a call one day, and they go, "Hey, you're dropping off tapes." I had this mediocre agent at the manager at the time. So he goes, "You got to drop a tape off at Global Entertainment, somewhere else. And there's this show, The fucking Sopranos." And I'm like, again, I'm not an opera singer.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
So guess what? I dropped 2 tapes off, but I didn't drop the Soprano tape off.
Really? Oh.
The pilot. I was in New York like in April or March, and they were looking. And I didn't drop it off. And when I see different characters in the show getting interviewed, especially that pilot, they were like, Sopranos, we're not singers. I think Jamie had the same reaction.
Exactly, yeah.
A couple of people. How was when you went in, did you even know what you were walking into?
No, well, I mean, nobody knew, it wasn't a thing yet. It was just a show on HBO, which at the time was not a good thing. You wanted to be fucking CBS or NBC or one of these things. And, but what's funny is everybody who's on the show thought it was a thing about singers and everything, and then when they told them, no, it's not singers, it's about Italian like mafia shit, they were relieved. Or with me, I was like, oh, that's even worse. I probably got a better chance of being a fucking singer because I'm a little Irish kid. I got freckles on my face, and every kid in the audition was like, slick back hair with the fucking leather jacket, and they were all trying to play up the Italian thing. And I remember my mom was even saying, like, why did you even send him on this? He didn't look like everyone else at the fucking audition. And every time I cursed in the audition, David Chase laughed. Every time. In the auditions, then in the callbacks, then in the next one, he just kept laughing. And I guess that's how I got the job. I got David to laugh over and over.
So you were 12, you said?
I was 12 years old.
When you're that old, like,
that
young, that exactly, like, is it like a dream, or are you just there and is it fun? Like, what is it like? Because when you're an adult, you're like, oh, this is my dream, and you're 12 years old, you're in 6th grade or something.
It's you're just kind of doing it. You're just kind of like, I remember doing the pilot and being upset, and James coming over to me like, what's your fucking, why are you pouting? And I was like, oh, all my friends are at camp, like it was summer camp time. I was like, I want to be with my friends at camp and not here with a bunch of fucking 30-year-olds, sitting around drinking cappuccino or, whatever they're doing. And like, I had a great time, but in my head, I'm like, man, I want to be with other 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds, and I want to be, getting my dick wet for the first time and seeing fucking what's going on instead of sitting around here. But it was, thank God, obviously, because it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
How many days were you on the pilot for?
I don't know. But I would, if I had to guess, I would say 3 weeks. It could be 2 weeks, could be a month. Honestly, I have no idea. I know towards the end, they started doing some episodes that would take like 6 weeks because it just got so like. If we did an episode where the whole family was there and we're all sitting around the table and like, you know, the cousin or it would take a full day for a 1.5-minute scene because there's 8 people. You got the wide shots, you got the close-ups, you got you got to match the food. No, you didn't eat with that hand, you ate with the other hand. You didn't eat you weren't eating pasta at that point. You were eating fucking salad. You were doing, and you got to match. And then when they finally get your take, they go, all right, everybody go away for 45 minutes, and we'd all go outside, each smoking cigarettes, bullshitting, laughing, and they would be setting up the lights and the cameras and everything, getting ready for the next person's close-up. And then the next person, they had to go around and do 8 of those, then they do a wide shot, then they do 2 shots, so 2 people in each thing. And there were times where we would have one dinner scene, and you'd show up at 6 in the morning, go till whatever time at night, and then you'd be showing up the next day again to eat the same fucking cold Chinese food for, 12 hours and sit. But it never, I mean, maybe twice for certain reasons did it ever feel like work to me.
Now, so you shoot the pilot, you go home, you go back to your life.
Yeah, totally.
You don't think about it. You're 12. You're looking to get your little balls licked.
Well, yeah. Well,
how long do you get the call?
Well, what actually happened was it didn't happen like that. What happened was I got the pilot, and everybody in my family goes, "He's gonna be famous. You're gonna be on a fucking TV show, and you're gonna be famous. This is it. This is the beginning." And then we went to shoot the pilot, and people like Tony Sirico would be like, we fucking, we do, 5 of these every year. We'll never see each other again. And then he just fucking shot all my dreams down. I went back fucking 12 years old, back to my family who we were broke, and telling them, what we thought this was, it's not. He's like, they do these all the time. It's a show for HBO. People were talking about, this is a fucking show for HBO. What do you think it's going to be, a fucking, a big deal? So I remember going back and telling my family, breaking the news to them that, no, this isn't the big thing, And then they called and said, we're going to do a season. And we did the season. And then I remember, it never really hit me, honestly, until I got a phone call and they said, there's a billboard with you on it in Times Square. And my family got in the car and we drove into fucking Times Square. We're driving through the traffic and we're looking around and somebody's like, there it is. And you look up and my face was on the fucking billboard in Times Square. And I was like, oh, shit.
I heard the premiere party was at a pizza place in the Village.
I think so. It might have been a John's.
Right, like a small, like HBO didn't even think it was really going to do anything. Like they had it in a pizza parlor or something.
Yeah. But by the way, for then it was like, this is like, I was fucking broke. I thought it was the great, I'm like, fucking free pizza. Everybody's fucking, I mean, it was amazing. I thought it was incredible. But HBO, I think about the shit, it's just crazy. Like I think when I was 16, because we were talking about where I grew up on 92nd Street and 2nd Avenue in New York, and I would be on a Thursday, I'd be in the park with my friends on a 16 years old, like drinking 40s, smoking blunts, getting into fucking trouble and shit. And then on Friday, I'd be flying first class on fucking HBO's dime to LA to stay in the nicest hotel in fucking LA on Saturday, Sunday, whatever. I'd be on the red carpet of the fucking awards. There'd be fucking, Tom Hanks and this one and people talking to you. And by Monday, I'd be back in the fucking park drinking a 40, smoking a blunt. And the crazy thing is now I look at it and I go, this sounds insane. Where at the time I was like, yeah, no, I was in LA this weekend. Yeah, fucking, I met Tom Hanks, I met all the cast of Friends. I met all these. We were all sitting together and having a drink, and they were great. I could fucking like. There used to be this homeless guy who we'd pay to buy us fucking alcohol. Like we could get beer, but it was hard to get like hard alcohol. And I remember like I'd be fucking telling the homeless guy about how I was hanging out with like Ray Romano the night before, And it's just fucking. It was. I think about it now, and I go, that's the craziest shit ever. But at the time, it was totally normal, I'd send HBO back the fucking tuxedo that they rented from wherever for me, and then I'd leave my apartment and I'd go to the park and be drinking and smoking, 3 hours later, just like with my buddies hanging out. It wasn't odd to me at all. Like I just thought, yeah, this is life, this is what's going on.
All right, so how many episodes before this fucking thing? Just because I had no idea. I'm a comic. I'm on the fucking road, and people are asking me, have you watched the show, The Sopranos? And I'm like, no. But fuck, I was supposed to read for that show.
Right. You didn't drop the tape.
So the first time I ever seen it was I was in Cleveland, and I went back to the room with like a gram of blow, and it was on the midnight showing, because they would always have like a 6 o'clock in California, 9 o'clock in New York, and you could watch it again that night.
Right.
And it was like maybe episode 5, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was coked up, so I really couldn't absorb. My feet didn't, but I knew I got to watch this shit again.
Yeah.
And from there on, I started watching it, and it was by like the 8th episode, right? Once that was it, you guys were off and fucking running. Your life changed.
Honestly, I don't remember it ever not being huge from the day I saw that billboard until, now if I go to a mall in Jersey, it's fucking, they go nuts, It's still crazy. But when I'm living my normal life, I think there's something about when I do with my fucking facial hair or the way I shave or don't shave sometimes, or my hair, that there's some days where it's like, I see people staring at me and pointing at me and coming up to me and asking me. And then there's some days where nobody fucking, you go a full day and nobody even looks at you and it's great. But there was, because you think about it, right? 8 episodes in would be 2 months. So to look back and try and remember like a 2-month period where it wasn't big. But from what I remember, as soon as the fucking pilot went, it was fireworks. It was crazy. Everybody loved it.